Hello, my name is Gary James. I'm a master's student at Michigan State University, and I would like to present Peril, a serious game focused on teaching new and amateur kayakers the proper equipment to take on their next trip. My hope today is to show how Peril would be a worthwhile investment for all kayak rental shops looking to help their clients be safe while having fun on the water. So, what's the problem? Every summer, many new kayakers take to the water looking for exercise, fun, or a nice trip down the river. Unfortunately, most lack proper training and will only take a few things with them that they think they might need. This leads to emergencies in the water, such as flipping without a life vest, dehydration, exposure, or in some cases even drowning. Many potential kayakers end up being discouraged due to stories told by others who've had a bad experience while kayaking, which may have been a result of just a lack of experience or training. The question is, how can we help? Kayaking has always been an enjoyable activity for friends and family, and we believe that we have found a way to quickly teach them what gear they would need to bring along with them while still having fun with those around them. The goal is to introduce an entertaining way to teach new kayakers what gear they should have by giving them a way to quickly recall specific items or potential hazards to ensure that they have a safe, fun experience. As I touched on earlier, the goal behind Peril is to teach new and inexperienced kayakers the importance of proper gear when kayaking. The other goal is to assist veteran kayakers and rental shops such as yourself who offer safety courses a chance to reinforce key principles before heading out onto more advanced courses such as rivers with rapids, portaging, dams, and waterfalls. In addition, this allows kayakers to quickly become aware of potential hazards they would otherwise not think of. Finally, the game is used as an introduction for kayaking for those interested, but not quite ready to make it to the leap of officially learning how to kayak. Of course, you can't have a game without players, so who would play? The good news is that anyone able to kayak on their own or with the assistance of an adult is able to play. While 12 years and up is recommended, younger children wishing to kayak and are under the guidance of an expert level kayaker are encouraged to try as well. It's never too early to learn safety when it comes to water. A great advantage of Peril is its ability to be played nearly anywhere where there's a flat surface. The game does require 12 cards to be placed in where vertical ends touching, but in the case of smaller surfaces, the line can be broken up into two separate lines once the edge of the surface has been reached. This makes it especially useful for camping before or after kayaking, waiting for kayaks to arrive on a trip, or even home when it's winter time and when you wish you could be out in the water. The idea behind Paddle Peril is for the player to understand and overcome various hazards that may affect them while kayaking. This may include various weather conditions such as thunderstorms, kayaking in the dark, or even flipping their kayak. Of course, this isn't an exhaustive list, because every river and lake has a potential of providing their own risks and hazards, but the goal is to get the player to be aware of the most common as seen by kayakers typically in the United States or Canada. Also, our reasoning for selecting these hazards are to assist a kayaker in making quick decisions when seeing a potential hazard such as the storm clouds or large rocks below the surface that may risk flipping their boat. The design of the game is quite simple. It includes 4 types of cards, including river, hazards, gear, and starting and finishing. The starting card acts as the river's launch point and gives the ability for the player to start the game. River cards help to expand the river and give the players progression until they reach their goal. Hazard cards present the players with real-life scenarios resulting in them using the appropriate gear cards to overcome them, else they cannot move. Finally, the end cards complete the game by ending that portion of the river. The basic game is designed to be played with 2 to 4 players, but by adding additional decks and expanding the river limit, say from 12 to 24, there's potentially no limit to the number of players. We do recommend, though, to keep the number of players smaller, such as a max of 8, to ensure full participation and a chance for everybody to learn while playing. During the game, players are able to take on one of 2 roles per round, including being a kayaker or the river itself. If they choose to be a kayaker, then they can either play a river card to progress further downstream, or they can play a gear card to overcome a hazard that's been placed in their way on a previous round. If they decide to take the role of the river, then they can place a hazard card on another player to prevent them from moving on the next round. This acts as a way to make every game unique and challenging for the players, while still giving them a chance to learn which gear cards they should use to overcome a certain hazard. To play the game, each player takes a turn by choosing to complete an action as mentioned before, which include using a gear card, a river card, or a hazard card. They also have the option to pass on a turn if they are out of cards, or if they have a river card that does not match the previous one. At the end of each round, the player draws a card and the game continues. To add a sense of challenge, similar to a kayaker being aware of their surroundings, the river cards must line up to the previous one, either by aligning to the center, left, or right of the bottom of the card. A kayaker not aware of surroundings will only increase the risk of hurting themselves or their fellow kayakers, so being aware of the surroundings is vital. The overall objective of the game is to be the first kayaker to reach the end of the river. Since kayakers are encouraged to look out for each other, once the game ends using the basic rules, all players who are not trapped by a hazard card also win. This encourages the other players to quickly recognize hazards and remove them as fast as possible so they do not get left behind. For more competitive gameplay, say to mimic a race for example, there exist optional rules where only one person would win if they reach the end of the river first. For first time playing though, we recommend using the basic rules to prevent detouring future players from either kayaking or even playing the game again. As for production of the game, it's estimated to take approximately 5 months depending on shipping and printing schedules. This includes the basic development of the game, numerous playtests and revisions, and a final revision to polish artwork, understanding of the rules, and an explanation of the cards. The team would be composed of a graphic designer who would create easily and identifiable gear and hazard cards that most age or experience ranges would be able to understand, a researcher to ensure that the hazards are typical for most kayakers in the US or Canada and easily identifiable, and a game developer to put it all together and to create rules for the basic game that any age range would understand. As for the budget, our initial development costs were surprisingly low as we concentrated on using low fidelity for our playtesting. For production, we would use thick cardstock with playing card coating to ensure the overall durability of the cards, since there's a good chance that many of them will be played outdoors. Finally, we're including in the initial shipping costs in order to give our early adopters a chance to play the game and to help spread the word to their friends, families, or customers. Our overall risk is low, given the current cost of production and by keeping the team small and local. If production increases based on demand, we would need to adjust accordingly, but there are several online services who specialize in printing at scale that would be able to accommodate our needs. Since Peril is focused on the education of kayakers and those in the water, the future plan is to release other expansions to the game to accommodate other hazards, water types, and even the type of vessel being used. This will help to ensure that everyone on the water is safe, aware of the hazards of others, and still able to have fun. Thank you for taking the time to learn about Peril, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank